I'm just waiting for a couple more people to come, and then we're going to start going through 2 grant applications today. Alrighty. So just waiting for a couple more people to show up, and then we're going to start these grant applications. Yes, it's okay so far. I'm just waiting for a couple more people to show up, and then we're gonna get started on some of these applications. Just gonna give it like literally another minute or two, and then we're gonna get started. All right, so Today we're going to be going through 2 applications. The first one is from Shea Moisture. And then the other one is from another company. I'm going to tell you right now. I already kind of created a dashboard, so I have to go back. I'm going to tell you right now. Black Ambition. So it's a Black Ambition prize competition. So the second one is a competition. And then the first one is just a straight flat out grant opportunity. They being Shea Moisture, it says that it's a 7-minute application. So it shouldn't take that long for us to do. Excuse me. A lot of it is just like preliminary information about like your business that they want to know, like demographic information about your business that they want to know. So we'll do the Shea Moisture one first because it's shorter and it's coming up, I think, sooner than, the deadline is like a day before that one. All right, so can you repeat the first name? Yeah. So the first one is sheamoisture.typeform.com. If you click that in there, it should pull it up. But if not, let me see how else I can get it. Shea Moisture Black. You know what? No, here's what you can Google. You can Google the Blueprint Grant. The Blueprint Grant and then it's the first link that comes up from Shea Moisture on Google. The Blueprint Grant, like the Blueprint, like Jay-Z's album. So like the Blueprint Grant. And that's going to be the first one. So it says that this grant is meant to support individuals that are pushing boundaries across beauty and creative industries. So this one is specifically for beauty, but it also says creative, and it doesn't necessarily say what creative really is. It doesn't expound on what creative is. So I'm going to say go ahead and shoot your shot if you're interested in applying for this grant. It says the grant winners will be Black women that are culture drivers who will use the funds to fuel a project or initiative that forges paths for themselves and their community. After all, you will always be the aspiration and the inspiration. All right, so right off the bat, we know that community is really important to them. So they're probably going to have a question about how these funds are going to either help or contribute, or how your business contributes to the community in some way, right? So we're looking for, we look through the qualifications, not necessarily just to see if you qualify, but also to see if what the grant funders' missions are and what they want you to really focus on and align with, right? All right, so it says 4 individuals will be awarded $10,000 each and receive a 30-minute virtual office hour session with 1 Blueprint ambassador. To apply, submit this form by May 7th at 11:59 Eastern time. All right. And then, so before we even get started, let's go ahead and open up a Word doc like we've been doing so we can capture the questions and the answers that we're submitting so that we know, just for future reference, what we put as our answers, but then also what we can use it as a reference point for other grants if they ask similar questions, right? We don't have to create the narratives all over again. So let's go ahead and do this for Shea Moisture, the Blueprint Grant, okay? So file, and we're gonna save. All right, so that's that. What else? All right, so let's go ahead and start the application itself. So the first question it asks is, first we need to collect your general information, all right? So continue. So it's gonna ask you your name. Next, it's gonna ask you for an email address. Be sure to use an email address that's tied to your business if at all possible, all right? The second question is, are you between the ages of 18 to 35? I'm gonna assume yes, if you're on this live. Do you identify as female? So remember, it's going to women, so that's important to them. If you don't, then that's fine, but They are going to be asking questions about your identity, right? Please select how you identify. So E is asking about your ethnicity. So I'm gonna put Black because that's what I am. And if you identify as any of these other ones, then you can put it. If it's other that doesn't fit one of these categories, then you can probably type it in, right? I'm too old for this one. I would say still apply, because it might be a situation where your business fits as closely to their model as your business gets as close to the qualifiers as any other business. So you might just put yourself out as for age when your business model might fit what they want to fund, and you might get ahead of the competition. So I think it's a good idea to still apply anyway. But if you feel like you fall out of the age range, then for any reason, then don't. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just encouraging you to still apply regardless. Occupation. So this answer should be related to your business. Okay. So I'm going to put founder, right? Because that's what I am in relation to that business. If you are a business owner, please share your company name. So this is going to be G. We're on. Okay. And then if you own a business, they kind of fuddled this, but they're asking, has it been in operation at least 1 year prior to April 3rd of 2023, right? So that means that has your business at least been operating since April 3rd of 2022, right? Because that's when this application would have opened. So if your business has been in existence since at least then that would fit this. If it's not, then let's see what happens. It still lets you go on to answer other questions. So just be honest about the position of your business, okay? Next, for letter I, is going to ask you about the state and the city that your business is in. You're going to put that information in. It's going to ask you to share your website, and then your social media handles. So I've been pretty much teaching that social media handles should be a function of your business pages, right? Don't put your personal pages here first and foremost, but then also second of all, I would really stay away from putting your social media pages if your social media pages are not solely focused on your business or the product or service that you're running, right? If it's like if it's like kind of like your business page, but you also post like family stuff and unrelated stuff, or you're like, and this is not a judgment call, I'm just telling you how you're going to be judged, right? If you're like cursing or online, like running amok, that's your business. You can do that on your own time. But for the sake of what's considered professional, you want to keep your social media pages separate to begin with. But if you're not, then probably use something like LinkedIn, or leave this question out altogether. You don't have to answer this question. I don't think it's a deal breaker for grant funders. Now the game has changed a little bit, just a little bit. I don't think it's going to disqualify you, but the game has changed a little bit where they do want you to be more social media focused, because that is a really big part of business marketing anyway. So they're looking to see not only what you post on social media, but they're also going to be determining whether or not you would be posting about the opportunities, or if you became like a semifinalist. They're going to want to know that you're going to be promoting their business in a like roundabout way too. So that's pretty much what they're looking at, how active you are on social media, for real. The grant that we're doing, if you are just joining us, the grant that we're going over right now is the Blueprint Grant by Shea Moisture. All right. So just for like, just as a standard for myself, I always put LinkedIn, because that's what's considered most professional, right? Again, not a judgment call, but use your discernment when you're applying for these things, because they will be looking at your social media. Like, I got tagged a couple days ago from the founder's first CDC semifinalist thing, and I got tagged on LinkedIn. So they are using your social media. So that's why I'm mentioning that and placing a little bit of emphasis on that right now. All right. So next is going to okay, so now it's actually going to the second section where they're asking you to tell them about your business, okay? And what your unique blueprint is, all right? Just for the sake of intentionality, we've been really focusing on that word. Two things that we're going to focus on are, well, three things technically. So community is going to be a big one because in the requirements, they mentioned it. A second thing is we're going to highlight the word blueprint because that's the word that they're using, like your unique blueprint, right? So even if we create the narrative, we're going to say our unique blueprint is blah, blah, blah when we answer that question, all right? And then the third thing is that when we are talking, because they're going to ask us, I'm 100% sure they're going to ask us what we're going to do with the funds or what we plan on doing with the funds because it's $10,000. When they ask you that question, you want to say, if you were funded by this grant or these people, this is what you would do with the funds, right? So you want to mention the blueprint grant, right? So we're going to mark those things down as important points of focus for us to integrate into our application today, okay? The blueprint grant, that's what I wanted to say. All right, so we're on part 2. Anybody have any questions about anything I said in that first part at all? I mean, most of it was like your information anyway, but any questions before we move on to at all? Maybe, sort of, kind of. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Sorry, I'm late. Which one are we working on today? We're working on the blueprint grant from Shea Moisture. The blueprint grant from Shea Moisture. All right. So we're going to move on to the second question. So it says, briefly tell us about yourself in a short description. How have you created a unique blueprint in your industry? All right. Okay. So, let's see. So we're going to go ahead and start answering the question for anybody who's like just catching up or just coming in. Okay. So for the sake of this application, I'm going to start the answer right off the bat by saying that tell us about yourself in a short description. So when it's asking you any question that you see on a grant application, asking you to tell them about yourself, they want to know about you in relation to the business, okay? Qualifiers that make you qualified to run this business, project, initiative, or whatever the case may be, right? And it's asking you to be brief. So in this case, I would probably just focus on experience and then maybe bridge a gap between how you created or what kind of struck the chord with you wanting to create this blueprint, right? So for example, if I was writing a narrative out for another company, I'd say something along the lines of credit conversion, or I'm going to pick a random person here. The Real S Patent. Let's go with you, right? So I would say if the business name was the Real S Patent, I would say the Real S Patent started as a function of needing to create faster turnover when we apply the eyelashes to consumers, right? Because this is a beauty thing. So if this was related to a beauty brand, then that's what I would say, right? So tell us about yourself, right? So I found that in my experience as a business owner of how many years, right? Because you're telling them about yourself in this relation to the business, right? So as a business owner of this many years, we've noticed that we notice that consumers are happiest when they're able to leave our chair within 30 minutes versus 2 hours, like a traditional set is applied, right? Because it tells them about you in relation to the business, but it also tells them a little bit about your business too, without going into too much detail, right? Or this would be a good time to just kind of like use your elevator pitch. So you could say, my name is Natalie. I am the C-level executive of Credit Conversion. Credit Conversion was born as a function of wanting to see financial inclusion and equity within the financial services space. That's the short description. So that could be just like the pitch, your elevator pitch that you're just using really quickly to introduce yourself. And then the unique blueprint that you could use is how it's always going to be problem solution, right? Always problem solution. The problem that you're solving and the solution that you're offering as a result of the problem that you're solving, but also who you're serving, right? But within this scenario, they're asking how you're unique. So you want to kind of place emphasis on how you either do things differently or what your competitive advantage is in the marketplace, okay? And I would say that I would start the sentence by saying that our unique blueprint consists of, or our unique blueprint is the fact that whatever it is that you're solving, that would be what's, or either how you're doing it differently. That would be your unique blueprint. So I would start maybe by saying something along the lines of, in the financial services space, there is a lack of traditional funding for minority-owned businesses, specifically women, right? So that's what the problem is. My unique blueprint for these consumers is creating an alternative lending platform that will allow them to bypass traditional lending institutions and be able to access business credit and personal credit at the inception of their business. That's what we're doing differently. That's my unique blueprint. I'm serving a particular group of people, women, who don't have access to traditional lending in business spaces, right? So does that make sense? Or does anybody need more clarity on kind of how I positioned that sentence, or I'm positioning this answer? And if you want to hop on and ask about your specific business, then please let me know, because this is a good opportunity to do this. This application is not too long, so we'll have time. Anyone? Is it safe to assume is 35 the max age? Honestly, to be honest with you, I don't know if 35 is the max age. I don't think you should let that count against you. Still apply anyway. I work with youth in the area of education and entertainment. Okay, so ask me a specific question, so I can answer your question. So do you want me to like help you phrase how you should be answering this question, or like are you giving me this information because you want me to kind of help you outline your unique blueprint? Because I need a little bit more information for that one. You stated you were a C-level owner. How did you word that? So I'm a C-level executive, right? So I state that I'm a C-level exec. So that kind of puts, I don't necessarily, there's no rhyme or reason why I'll state that, but I don't also go out of my way to state that I'm the founder, because, and this is just my opinion, I am open to other ideas. This is just what I believe, right? As a founder, I could go into an industry that I don't really understand very well. And I could also be just doing something that's a passion project that I'm trying to turn into a business. However, I think that C-level executives, especially because of my years of experience, have a little bit more industry knowledge, and it helps kind of position and frame the person's mind around your level of expertise, especially industry-wide, right? So a founder could be someone who just is either involved or highly invested in the beginning of the business, but a C-level exec would be someone who understands the industry on a level where you would, I could run this business with both my eyes closed, and I could do this for anyone. You understand what I'm saying? Like, being a CFO, I can go into your business and pick apart your finances and know where there's holes, where your employees are not performing well, where you need to cut back on certain things, what's costing you a lot of money. I can do that across businesses and across industries, versus if I was just a founder, I don't think that's necessarily a skill that translates, if that makes any sense. Yes, so that's why I state that I'm a C-level exec. So, Okay, Sabrina, and then how about for a cloud solution technology space, specifically blueprint question? So um, I understand the service, I understand the technology. What I would need insight on is who you're serving, and then I would also need information on what you do differently, right? Because I can't tell you that. You'd have to let me know about what you're doing in the cloud solution technology space that's different from anyone else that's in that same industry, right? Because it's professional. Somewhat, yeah. Um, so just anyone who wants help, if you can actually like hop on. I don't know where you guys are right now. I'm assuming maybe at work or like maybe it might be noisy. That's all right. But if you guys want to ask me like very specific questions, please feel free to like just let me know and I'll click on your profile so that we can actually chat to kind of hash it out because it's kind of hard to do that on text. I'm sure. So feel free to either message or I can click on your name if you're open to it. Okay. Um, so let me see if I can do that. I think I turned off the feature where I can allow people to ask me questions because it'd be random people coming up. Oh, yes, please. Hold on a second. Let me try to figure out how to do that though. Or if you could send me a request, that would be helpful too because I'm not really sure how to do that. To be honest, let me see. Guests. Oh, okay. Maybe I do know how to do that. Nope. I lied. I don't know how to do that. So the Real S patent, if you want to send a request, let me know and I'll try to see if I could do it that way because I'm not really sure how to do this, to be honest with you. Let me see something. Interact. Let me see. Nope. Interact, comment, settings. Let me see settings maybe. Comment settings. No. All right. Not gonna hold you. I don't know how to add somebody. I'm trying to do it, but I can't find it either. Please tap the screen. This is info we need. Oh, thank you, Jackie. Okay, so I'm not sure how to do this. I'm not gonna hold you. Yeah, that's so weird because I feel like there's an option where you can go live with someone. No, let me see something. Let me try to see if I can Google it. Sorry about that, y'all. During the live, it says tap the multi-guest button, then tap apply. Multi-guest, where's that? Okay, guest. Viewers. Oh, interesting. Because I can see two people that I can add, but it's not letting me add you specifically. I think you have to be someone that's viewing it. I'm not really sure how that works. All right. Okay, I just fixed it. All right. I think I just fixed it. If you can request it now, then we can do it. All right. Okay, I think it should be able to let you do it now. I just turned off like a setting that was like toggled on. Yeah. So see if you can do it now. The Real S patent. Or maybe if I click on your name. Okay, we're gonna figure this out one day. Yeah, okay, we're gonna figure this out one day. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry to even spend time on that. But let me go back to some of the comments so I could answer any questions. Okay, it says please stop screen. Okay, I need help big time. Yeah, so this application process is pretty much what we're trying to go through so we can see how we can help you kind of get some of the answers and clarify some of the things that you need to know either about your business or how to frame it so you're putting yourself ahead of the competition, right? So any questions before we move on about this, right? I wanted clarity on what was your name? Buttery Beans NY. Just give me a little bit more clarity on your solution, like what solutions you offer or what problem you're solving for who, and then also what you're doing differently that we could talk more about how to position your question, your answer for this grant. And then the real SPAT, and if you want to try to type out what it is that you wanted to either ask or say, then we can go from there too. I'm trying to do it, but I can't find it either. Okay, please stop screen. Okay, I'm glad I came across your TikTok. I have a meeting, but I will stay connected. Okay, no problem at all. And then it doesn't show a link for any more. Okay, so just clarify that, and then I can either go back to it or I can wait. It doesn't matter to me. Okay. So I'm going to go on to net question B. All right. How would this grant help fuel your growth? Okay. So whenever I see this question, I automatically think they want to know what is it going to look like when money is applied versus you not having the funds now. All right. So I give the example of marketing because I think it's just a good way it's a good language to just kind of practice with, right? So for example, let's say you're going to say this grant would help fuel our growth by being able to help us increase our visibility. All right. So if you're going to give the example of visibility, you need to quantify your answer. Always quantify your answer, period. They need to know how large this problem either is or how this grant or how quantifying it would look like being able to know how applying this as a solution for the grant would help you in a measured way, right? That's what we mean by quantify. We just need to be able to measure it, all right? So for example, I would say if I was giving the example of marketing, I would say something along the lines of, this grant would help fuel our growth by allowing us to have more visibility. Visibility would mean 4 new clients per month, all right? Or 10 new clients per month, whatever that would mean. But I would break it down. I would not just say 4 or 10 because how are you coming up with this number? So I would talk about how we've gone into and this is just a general overview of the format. I'm not necessarily giving you the answer, right? But I would say we've gone into our Facebook dashboard and we've done test campaigns where we've seen that if we applied $10,000 to this campaign, after we tested the quality of the assets, because that's something that you have to do and it shows that you really are doing the work, right? So after we tested the quality of the assets, we've applied $10,000 to this campaign over this length of time. This is how many impressions we would get. And with this many impressions, we're expecting an average conversion rate of blah, blah, blah. How you got to that conversion rate would be important too, because every industry's conversion rate or click-through rate is very different. So how you got to the conversion rate of that number would be very insightful. And then once we know what the conversion rate is versus our close rate, right? Because conversion and close rates are different. You can convert 10 clients to come, but maybe you only close 4 of those clients, right? So you're giving that information. So I would say based on industry conversion, at the average of industry conversion rates versus our historical close rate of 2 to 3%, we anticipate that applying $10,000 would allow us to see a return on our investment of 4 clients, $10,000, which is 4 clients. Or, you know what I'm saying? Maybe even if you broke even, or if you applied $10,000, you made 100,000, right? So you want to quantify it so that they know how it's actually going to fuel your growth, how you're measuring that you're going to grow, right? If you've done trainings with me, your projections could also tell you that, okay? So if you are going to do projections, look at the numbers applied with the with the grant applied for the first year or the first 2-3 years, right? Versus you can do like a comparative analysis. You can say, when the funds are applied, we see a return on our investment of 2,000%, right? Versus when the funds aren't applied, we'll still be profitable, or we won't be profitable, whatever the comparative part of that is. But it's not as quick, or the growth is not as quick, the growth is not as steady, it's not as stable, whatever the case may be. So you want to make a case for, if you're going to use projection, like the assumptions and observations from your projections for this basis of how your growth is going to be fueled, you want to make a comparison about what would happen when the funds are applied versus when the funds aren't. All right. And if you're using the projections model that I gave you, then you can just pull that data out of the grant line, and it will give you different numbers. Okay. So that's that. Any questions on that measurement, how I frame that, or information about how you're going to articulate that your growth is fueled, that growth is being fueled with the grant applied? I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds. So any questions on that? And measurement doesn't necessarily have to just be monetary, right? It could be client conversion. It could be how quickly you think you'll grow. It could be monetary, of course. It could be how quickly you'll be able to launch. Just, it has to, however you're measuring growth in this case, because growth is going to look different across businesses, across industries, across projects. Okay. There's no right answer for what your growth objective is. You just have to think about what you need to do within your business at this very moment. If getting more clients is what the growth measure is, break down how you are going to measure applying funds to growing, right? For some, like for example, we had a young lady who took our growth grant training a couple of months ago, right? And she told me I could share this because she's been on a couple of lives before. And in her proposal, when I overviewed her proposal with her, she stated that part of her growth would be being able to apply grant funds to get a new machine. The new machine would allow her to be able to generate an X amount of more soap or product than she was generating before, right? So that's telling me if I don't have this machine, I'm only able to do, for example, 2 bars, right? But if I have this machine, I'm able to do 20 bars. So that is a measurable difference, right? 10x in volume of the number of bars of soap that you're able to generate, or a product that you're able to generate. So just think about what growth would look like for you. So for her, 10 more bars of soap means more money, because each bar of soap, if she knows how much they cost, would be broken down revenue wise, right? So she broke down the quantity and volume that she would be able to do in product. And then she also broke down what that would look like for her margins, her revenue. Okay. Are lives saved or accessible after streaming? They are, but we're putting them behind a paywall. Okay. I'm just going to be honest about it. I'm very transparent. If you join a live with me, you know, I'm very transparent about what my end goal is with this, right? You can use this as your business model too, which is why I'm telling you. I'm not just sharing this to kind of give my business, right? Whenever you are running any kind of social media platform or campaign or community, you give away as much free information as you can. I take 2 hours out of the day. I do this because I know it's helpful and people are getting results from this, right? I know it's going to be helpful. But at the end of the day, it's going to be good for me And if you want to use this model, it's going to be good for you because it forces people's hands who don't want to pay to go behind the paywall. It forces them to join you when you're live. It forces them to engage with your page to get the information when you're giving it, right? So that's kind of why I'm doing it that way, because it helps my social media grow. And if you want to help us grow in any other way, that would be very helpful too. But it helps my social media grow, but it also helps whenever we are compiling this information. It does take time. It takes resources. We're business owners, right? Someone has to do this. Someone has to take the content down. Someone has to, put it and compile it and aggregate it and put it somewhere and manage questions, manage emails. So that's why we're doing it this way, right? So it kind of forces social media's hand as far as the consumer engaging with our content. So that's kind of the strategy behind that, if you're interested in applying something like that. So that's just me being transparent about why we're doing that way. It's not going to be super expensive, but it kind of just forced the consumer's hand. That's to answer that question. All right. So next question I'm going to ask is, anyone have any questions about the fueling the growth part? How they want to measure, how they want to describe or narrate their growth in their business, or how they want to quantify their growth, right? I wouldn't be able to break down the numbers or the figures for you, but I could help you. I could talk to you about how to narrate or generate an answer that would be sufficient as far as what you want to consider when you're talking about what growth would look like for your business. So if you have any questions about that, we can do that too. Okay. Hi. So any questions about that before we move on? I feel like I gave 2 decent examples. If you want more, I can give you more. If you want to ask specifically about your business, please feel free to take advantage of the time. I'm here till 2, so take advantage of the time. And I really don't mind answering at all. Like, it's not a problem. That's exactly why we're here. So please try to take advantage. Okay. So if no one asked a question, I'm thinking, do you go live every day? I do not go live every day. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I've just been going live so far because whenever I find a grant opportunity that fits within Black women and that can kind of capture mostly everybody, I'll do those. But if I don't see any grant opportunities that don't fit, then I won't. But I will announce them on the page, so be sure to follow. Okay? I will announce when I'm going live, so be sure to follow. How would this grant help fuel your growth? So any other questions about this before I really move on for real this time? All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. All right, how will this grant help you create new opportunities for others? All right, again, here we go. This is we talked about community, so now they're outlining a question that's asking about opportunity. Okay, so this is going to be a twofold part. Okay, one, you want to talk about who your product creates a solution for, but we're not going to frame it as like I serve women 35 to 44 and I develop skincare for them. No, we're going to talk about it in the case of like really talking about what problem you're solving for them. So we create holistic products and services for consumers that are looking to improve the overall quality of their lifestyle. And this is an example. This is not a real thing, right? Consumers are strapped for time and they want to have a place where they can go and access information quickly and know that the information is valid and viable, right? That could be what opportunities you're creating for others. You're creating a place where they can go in, do this, get the information they need, and out, right? That could be an opportunity because when you're doing your SWOT analysis, and if you've done a SWOT analysis, then you should have outlined all of the opportunities within your business, and you can even grab one of those from there, okay? But also, we're going to talk about community as well, because community was one of the big buzzwords that they use in their qualifiers, remember? So we're going to talk about community. How does your business create new opportunities for others? So this would be a good time to insert a narrative about how your business is going to help the overall community. And that could look like, your business XYZ will be also creating new opportunities to help others in our local community by working with local vendors and suppliers to keep other businesses' doors open, to employ new people, to create employment opportunities, to strategically partner with auxiliary or complementary organizations that will be able to allow us to gain new clientele, but also give back or reach out or whatever the case may be. Okay, so there's different ways that you can create opportunities. You can form strategic partnerships, you can create jobs, you can host events, you can donate money. It's a number of ways that you can do that. So just think about how your business is going to be able to do that, okay? I'm sorry, I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, because if I don't, they will disturb. All right. So, again, you have to think about what your business is, what your model is, and how it can kind of fit into opportunities that it can create for other people. Are you going to give away webinars? Are you going to give away, are you going to donate time? Are you going to donate resources? Are you going to partner with other people in the community? Are you going to, like, there's a store, there's a restaurant here in Charlotte that only uses local farmed products. So their menu changes kind of often, because they will not work with you if they will not create an item off of a menu that they don't source from a local farm. So that's how they're keeping the farms, around and active and profitable as well. So they get money all the time because people know that they support local farms. So things like that, right? Think about how your business can do the same thing. So that's how you will help to create new opportunities for others, as well as talk about maybe community initiatives that you can do to make sure that your business is staying in the community. It's a staple in the community, but it's also helping other people in the community as well through your product, through your service, through the problem that you're solving. Yes. Are we comfortable with that answer? I need some feedback, y'all. I don't want to just be talking to myself in this camera. I really don't. I need something. Give me something. Okay. So, next question they're asking is, what would you hope to gain from an office hour session with one of our Blueprint ambassadors? Okay, so okay, got you. And when I say feedback, I mean, like, you could just message me and let me know, like, you understand, or if you have any questions, like, just drop a comment, and I want to just make sure everybody understands what we're talking about before we move on. So question D would say, what would you hope to gain from an office hour session with one of our Blueprint ambassadors? So this will be an important question to answer, because they're telling you that in addition to funding, one of the perks or benefits that they believe they're giving you, whether you need it or not, right? One of the perks or benefits that they think they're giving you is being able to sit with someone for half an hour and talk to someone about either your business or a planning session or advice or whatever the case may be, right? So this is a good time when you're answering this question to outline something within your business that's either blocking you from moving forward or a challenge that you have that you would like help with, okay? But we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we are self-employed, whatever you want to call yourself. So you're not going to just frame it in the way that you're saying, I want help with my negotiation skills, right? No, we want to quantify everything we're saying, remember. So if it's something that you have a hard time with, you can even go back to the marketing example. Let's say it was marketing, right? If something that you're having difficulty with, you could say that we hope to gain insight or instruction or support or partnerships, whatever, from our session, an office session with our Blueprint ambassador, and learn about or gain access to or better understand this about the industry, right? Whatever the case may be. You can also talk about, for example, let's use the example of marketing. If it was a marketing example, you could say something along the lines of, we hope to gain better insight into how we can communicate and articulate our brand on social media, or how to monetize social media, how to convert on social media, okay? Now, I would hope to gain additional insight into strategic scaling and enhance digital media. Yes, but remember, you have to quantify both those things, right? So if you're going to put that, you're going to have to break down the next part, okay? You can put that, and we're going to talk about the next part. So let's say you want to talk about strategic scaling, right? This is a good time when you're quantifying it. You want to talk about where you are now versus where you want to be, or what you have seen worked for other businesses, right? Because if you don't have any information about where you want to be because you need insight about it, then that's fine. But I would say in that situation, I would hope to gain additional insight into strategic scaling, and why you think that would help your business. So I would think because strategic scaling would allow our company to be able to gain access to X amount of new clients, or to be able to grow by this percentage within this amount of time, right? And the basis for that is going to be either the industry standard or a competitor, or a company that does something similar to you that you've seen grow in that same capacity, so that you know it's possible and that there's still a market share to capture within that industry. Does that make sense for the real S patent? So we are quantifying everything that makes sense. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we quantify everything. The reason why is because it allows you to stand out, because it helps. For example, like, it's $10,000, right? $10,000 on the line. I need to, and think about it this way, right? I'm going to ask the real S patent for $10,000, and I'm going to tell her, I've never met her before. I don't know her. I don't understand her business model. I may be familiar with the industry that she's in, but I need to understand how she's actually going to make that money back and how it's going to help her business grow. I need a way to measure that and measure everything she tells me, right? So this is why I want you guys to think in terms of problem and solution, because you need to be able to clearly state what the problem is, who you're solving it for, and how you're solving it for them. But then also the way that you stand out is you being able to quantify how everything is either going to help you grow, how many people you're going to impact, how many people have this problem. Everything has to be quantified, and that will make you stand out, because people are not answering these questions that way. I guarantee you that. And I'm going to prove it one day, I promise. We're working on that now. We're doing interviews with people who have funded people in the past. So like other grant funders, other organizations that fund. And when we ask them questions about, what is it that makes an applicant stand out? Or what is it that you see most commonly as far as like someone who doesn't get funded? And this is the number one answer. They don't give enough insight. They don't give enough detail about how this is going to make a difference in their business. They don't even know how it's going to make a difference in their business. So if you know these things, and again, this answer is asking you what you hope to gain. So you might not even understand the full scope of, for example, for the Real S patent, you might not even really understand the full scope of what strategic scaling might look like for your business, but you understand that it's something that you eventually have to do, right, to grow your business to a certain level. So you're going to reference information from other businesses that do the same thing or have done the same thing as your point of reference. That's going to be your basis. And you're going to extract data about them. When they did this, this is what happened. We want to do the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so that's kind of what I want you guys to think like them. I'm about to hand you $10,000. I need you to know what you're doing, what you're gonna do with that money, and they're gonna ask you that. They're gonna ask you that anyway. But this is one thing that definitely helps you stand out amongst the competition, because people do not know how to do this. Period. All right. So next question, E, or 3. All right. So additional grant application questions. So we're on 3 now. All right. How did you learn about this grant opportunity? So this is what I'm going to ask of you guys, right? So when you get to this point, if you can click other and put our name, if you did learn about it through us, I would really appreciate that, because we are looking to create strategic partnerships with some of these organizations in the future. Excuse me. So the more they see our name on these applications, it really does help us being able to help you in the future. All right. So this grant that we're doing is called the Blueprint Grant by Shea Moisture. All right. So when you're going through, how did you learn about this grant opportunity? If you really did learn it from us, I'm not asking you to put something you didn't. If you learned it from us, if you could put other and then type in our name, that would be greatly appreciated. All right. So we're going to do that. And it's going to ask you, hold on a second. Let me go back, because I feel like I missed something. No, I didn't. Okay. All right, so then that's that. And then please upload your headshot. So make sure that it's a good high-res photo. Professional usually means like somewhere between here and there. Or headshot typically means something here between here and there, and that's considered professional. Okay. I have a beef with the word professional, but we're gonna talk about that another day. All right, and then we're gonna click OK. And then is there anything else that you would like to share? All right. Yes, there is, because what I noticed about this application specifically is that they did not ask you specifically, right? Thank you guys for the gifts. What I realized they did not ask you specifically is what you would do with the funds, right? They ask you, how will this grant help you create new opportunities for others? How will this grant help fuel your growth? We already answered that question, but this answer is going to be a little bit different, right? So now that they're asking, anything else you would like to share, we're going to use this opportunity and this time to talk about what a literal breakdown of what we're going to use those funds for. Okay. First of all, funds can be split into 2 things. If this is a new project or new initiative that you're launching, you're going to have 2 separate costs. You're going to have your first time or startup cost, which is costs that you're only going to pay one time. A logo, you pay for one time. A website, you typically pay for one time. You might have another cost of like maintenance and support and all that stuff, but to build it out, you only need it one time. Equipment, one time. So one-time startup cost if this is related to a project that you're starting up for the first time, right? You're going to break those down. That's 1. 2, we're also going to talk about our annual operating costs. Okay, so those are costs that are independent of whether you're starting and whether you make any money at all. So those are going to be your phone, your rent, electricity, marketing, whatever. Those are things that you just need to run your business. Okay, so that's what it's going to be. If you are scaling or growing in some case, you're probably going to be talking more about those, and then maybe even marketing or administrative overhead, maybe a little bit of equipment. But again, you're going to separate those 2 between what it is that you are going to use the funds for, as far as one-time startup cost and annual operating costs. Okay, you're going to break those down. The next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to start your narrative by saying, if funded or funding or securing funding through the Blueprint Grant would allow our company to do XYZ. But remember, we're going to quantify everything, right? So when you're giving your answer, you're going to break down this is $10,000. So you're going to have to think about, what do I need in my business that's going to help my business move forward right now, right? What's stopping my business from being able to move forward is where you're going to apply that money. When you're talking about it, you're going to say what that cost is, what the item is, what it costs, and what you need it for, essentially, how it's going to help your business grow. But you're breaking down specifics about what you're going to be using those funds for, right? So, for example, one of our operating costs is a encryption software, right? We hold a lot of sensitive data. So I would say the encryption software, how much it costs, and then just talk about why it's important to my business to have encryption software. I host a lot of sensitive information. It's going to cost me more money to try to mitigate a data breach, getting sued, getting fined by the FTC, all that hoopla, the legal ramifications, versus just paying $2,600, $3,000, $5,000 for some encryption software, right? So I'm justifying that cost. And then if you want to go further, because you could, right? There's quantification, you can measure this infinitely, right? I can talk about the type of software, how fast it is, how secure it is. I could talk about a bunch of different things, right? I'm kind of one of those people, so I'm going to break it down. But this is a good place to do that, all right? Talk about what you need it for, and exactly how it's going to help your business. This would be able to allow us to produce this much more. This would allow our clients or this would allow our business to see this many more people. This CRM would allow us to streamline our processes. Whatever it helps you do, remember, whatever helps you do, quantify how it's going to help you do it. We'll be able to provide 40% more jobs, whatever the case may be, right? With this platform, or we'll streamline our processes by 40% with this implemented. So just break that down. So that's what else you would like to share for letter C, and then you're going to submit. Okay. Any questions before we move on to the next application? Because we're already at 1:00 and we got one more application to do. Any questions, comments, concerns? Before we move on to the next application, because I really want to get through 2 applications today, because we might have some more to do tomorrow. So I want to get through these 2 today. No questions? All right. So if no one has any questions as of right now, we're going to go to the Black Ambition Prize Competition. All right. So if you Google Black Ambition Prize Competition 2023, you'll pull up a grant application. So this one is not just a grant, it's also a competition. So consider that, right? So this is the Black Ambition Prize Competition. Done, submitted. There you go. Boom, it's done. Remember to save. I hope you remember to save your answers. I know I'm saying that now that it's submitted, right? But remember to save your answers so that if we're going through this again, you have those answers saved. Like, these narratives sometimes are very detailed, very extensive. You want to save the answers that you're giving so that, for example, if they ask the same thing in the Black Ambition Prize Competition, you already have those answers. You might have to tweak it a little bit to accommodate these. Good, perfect. So you might have to tweak your answers a little bit to accommodate the application you're doing at the time, but it's not massive like overhauls of answers unless they're asking something brand new. But if you have close answers, then you can just do this one. All right. So Black Ambition Prize Competition. So this application is asking us, it says, we invest in bold ideas. The Black Ambition Prize seeks to strengthen pathways to entrepreneurship, increase access to capital, and expand pathways to growth, and highlight talent of Black and Hispanic founders. So if you got a Hispanic friend, send it over to them. Teams applying for the Black Ambition Prize must have at least one founder or co-founder that identifies as Black or Hispanic, Latino, Latina. Members of the founding team is defined as having a VP or C-suite level role. Okay, so we were just talking about C-level, why I mentioned being a C-level exec for anybody who's new versus just saying that you're a founder. Here's kind of the reason why, right? So we're seeing this in action, all right? Just call yourself a C-level or C-suite exec or Hello again, what are we doing today? We're doing the Black Ambition Prize Competition 2023. So if you Google Black Ambition Prize Competition 2023, this is what we're doing. And welcome back. So if you want to just find a title that kind of fits or captures more of a catch-all, do that, because founders sometimes can be a little hard on their ears, okay? But it's not wrong. You are a founder. right? Eligible ventures must have raised no more than 1 million in dilutive funding, right? So I'm sure that's not I'm sure that's not most of our cases, because we've already done 1 million in funding. We probably would have gone to investors by now at this point, and that's just my assumption. Okay, so this category is for projects that have shown progress against the venture concept, tested the concept, working prototype, minimum viable product. All right. And then it's saying that you have till May 8th to apply, and to 6 p.m. Pacific time. All right, so I'm going to click to apply, and this one is going to make you kind of sign up for a portal or something like that. So you have to sign up for this one before you create the application. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to do that, and then we'll start whenever y'all let me know we're ready. Ready? Are we ready to go? Yes, I'm so happy I made it to your life. No problem. Are 2 members required for this one? Good question. I don't think it's explicitly saying that 2 founders are required. I think they're saying that if there are multiple founders or people applying in a team, you said there was a yellow note. Where is this yellow note? Let me see. Black. What did I say it was? Black ambition. Black ambition. Competition. 23 application. Okay. Bold ideas uninterrupted. HBC prices if only. So I'm looking at past people who were funded, and there was just one founder, and she was a woman of color. So this is what I mean by don't get too hung up on the qualifications, right? And I'm not telling you to ignore them, granted, right? But I would say don't get too hung up on it. Wait, I don't see that. Maybe we're looking at 2 different things. So mine looks like, so becoming her habits, right? Are you seeing a page where it says you noodle at the beginning, at the top in like red, and then it's showing like a circle with like a line through it in the top left corner? Because if we're looking at the same page, mine does not say that. It just says click here to apply, and it gives information about like the deadline and the launch date right above the application button. So if you're looking at that, then I'm not sure where it says that. But I also looked at like previous people who've been previously funded. 2 of the people who were previously funded have 1 founder. So I'm not sure. Are you seeing the same thing? So let me see if I can flip my screen. Yeah, I can. Okay. So this is what my application looks like. All right. Please for a second. All right. So, right above the why apply section. I'm not seeing that. But either way, I'm still applying. Again, I don't get too hung up on the qualifications because, again, these are in many cases, these are situations where, like, for example, the mompreneur grant, we went through the whole application. 2 men won. They weren't moms, right? I don't want to block my blessing. So, yeah, 2 men won. It was a grant for Black women that were moms. One was an Asian guy, and then the other one was a Black guy. So don't put yourself out. It might be a situation where you're thinking the same thing, like, oh, I have to do this because it has to be X amount of founders, and then you count yourself out when they were looking for someone just like you. So when I say don't count yourself out, I really mean don't count yourself out. Or because you've learned how to articulate your business, you might be the best candidate that they found. So, just apply, really. So, I mean, if you're the only thing I would say maybe not apply, not even really. Is that I'm unable to share your live? Is that intentional? No. Someone else shared it recently. I'm looking at a couple people who shared it, actually. I'm not sure why. I'm sorry. We were having an issue earlier too, trying to get people to come on and like talk. So I'm not really sure if that's like a thing. No, TikTok hates me too. It's fine. So, all right. So the next question. So the couple questions that they're asking once you create a profile is just questions about your business. So they're asking the name, the area or the focus of your business. So for example, it says tech, healthcare, media, entertainment, consumer, packaged goods, or Web3. Those are the categories that they have listed there. Excuse me, I would say probably get to the one that's closest to you. If you have something that is B2C, but you're not sure how to fit into one of these areas, I'd probably put consumer services or consumer goods because that's probably the most clear, most vague one, right? It's asking you about where you're based, where you're incorporated, where you're headquartered, the city you're headquartered in, all states in which your founders or employees are based. Okay, so that should be multi-selection. I'm going to put North Carolina because that's where I am. Actually New York too because that's where Anna is. So I'm going to put Anna for New York. Right? And then are all your founding team members 18 or older? So yes. All right. Is the lead of the venture defined as the CEO or president or more senior role in the founding team? Yes. Do you confirm that no team member is an employee, officer, or director of Black Ambition and or members of the immediate family or members of immediate families? Yes, I'm confirming that because I don't know any of these people. All right. Is your venture for profit? Yes. Has your venture generated more than $1 million in dilutive funding? No. Have you demonstrated progress against your concept? Yes. All right. So part of this prize requires applicants to sign the Black Ambition Founders Commitment. Do you agree to this diversity and inclusion commitment? So it shows you exactly what you're pretty much pledging to. So it's telling you that they believe culture is an asset. They're committed to equitable access and opportunity, diversity and inclusion, and its own organization, and requiring that all applicants have similar commitments. So if you have similar commitments, this would be good for you. Okay. So yes, because that's exactly what our product does too. Do you confirm that all the information submitted in this application is true and accurate? And do you agree to the terms and conditions? Yes. All right. What is your main industry? And now it gives you a lot more options, especially in the other option as well. All right. What additional industries does your venture address? So you can click off the ones that make the most sense to you. It does say to apply as a team with at least 2 members. I truly am looking through this and I don't see that anywhere. Cause someone like screenshot it and send it to me. Cause I feel like I'm like mad dense right now. Cause I didn't see that anywhere. But and again, 2 of the winners. I'm not. You guys can do what you want. I'm apply. Cause it says 2 of the winners were one founder companies. It was a vegan company. This Barbara Jacks. She was she was one of the founders for that company, a vegan sustainable skincare line. And then there's another company, Ardina Francilon. She was a Pressy, which is a booking platform that she built out. They're single founders. And then there's another one here that looks like it's multi-founders, but I didn't see it exclusively stated anywhere personally. I'm not going to let that stop me. How can we book you for help with one-on-one to fill out for grants? So one-on-one, if you email, there's a link in my bio that says, I'm going to tell you right now, because I forgot just that fast. Oh, it's actually just a form that you fill out. So once you fill out that form, it's all the way at the bottom of like that link. You can just put in the message. You can just put in the message one-on-one. Just put your name, your email, and then in the message you'll put one-on-one, and then I'll get the message. So it's just like a fillable form on the end of the link in the bio. Okay. So, or do they tell you how much they were awarded or awarded? So it seems like based on this, they reward between 15,000 to 250,000. And a grand prize winner will receive 1 million. All right. So again, I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm sorry I missed that, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from applying. So 1 million men was just coming messages. This is another article that I was reading an article. I wasn't looking at the site for her becoming her habits. Girl, if you don't screenshot this and send me the message. All right. So Mr. Justin Turk. And okay, so let me see something actually. This one is for, yeah, this is independent of sex anyway. So it could have been a black woman or a black man, or a Latino man or a Latina man. So, I mean, a Latina woman. So it doesn't even matter. Your mindset. Okay. So I'm not, again, y'all, let's stay focused on this, because if you want to apply. If you don't feel comfortable applying, don't. But for anyone who wants to, we're going to still go through this. Okay. So, what industries does your venture address? So if there's any additional industries, then go ahead and click those off too. All right. I'm looking through them right now to see what's relevant, and I think that's it. All right. So describe your business venture in 2 to 3 sentences. Okay. So this would be a good time to just kind of do a broad overview of like the industry that you're in. One could be the industry that you're in. The second answer could be the problem that you're solving. And then 3 could be the problem that you're solving it for. All right. So you're always going to state your company's name. I'm going to pick on you, Becoming Her Habits. What's your company's name? And what do you do? Did she leave the chat? Did she get disappointed by our... Tell me she's still here. I didn't mean to offend her. Let me see. Okay, Soft Life. Okay, Soft Life Solutions. Okay, so we're going to start with the description, right? We're going to say Soft Life Solutions, LLC, is a media company dedicated to whatever problem you're solving, okay? So dedicated to representation in the media for minority women. if that's what you do, right? I'm just giving an example using your business name, all right? Or you can say Soft Life Solutions LLC is a company out of wherever you are, incorporated in this place. And if this is something that you're looking to build, you could say we are looking to, or we're proposing the build of a media platform where Black women are able to see themselves represented in the media. And that is that's how you're describing your business venture, okay? Remember, problem or introducing yourself about who you are, either where you are. You could talk about when you started or why you're in business. And then you can also, the other 2 sentences, good opportunity to talk about the problem that you're solving. Third sentence could be who you're solving it for. But we're not going to put minority women between the age of 34 and 55. No, you want to answer that last question about who you're solving it for in a way that you talk about how your product helps your consumer and how your consumer benefits by interacting with your product, right? So when they think about it this way, when they engage with your product, what pain point are you solving for them or eliminating for them? What are they saving time? Are they getting more money? Are they getting additional resources? How are your solution, if they don't have your solution, what do they not get access to, right? Better skincare, that's how you're solving that problem. Or higher visibility if you're a social media company. So just think about how your solution helps your consumer, and that's how you're going to be describing your business, okay? So that's for that question. You can pick me. Yes, great guess. Shows representing women of many folks living a fulfilled life. There you go. How they get there. That's perfect. So if that's what you do, right? And that's who you're solving the problem for. But let's deepen that a little bit, just a little bit, right? When representation is not shown for living a fulfilled life, what are the effects of that? Like if someone doesn't get to see your product or get to see your service in action, what happens? And that is the problem that you're really solving, if that makes sense, okay? So that's how you're going to describe your venture. And then next it says to please share a 90-second video link. So you're probably going to upload this like Google, YouTube or Vimeo, right? Vimeo. And you're going to explain what you're doing and why. All right. Remember to include a demo of your idea that demonstrates some progress against the concept, minimum viable product, working prototype, etc. Okay. Now, for some people, I don't want you to get put off by them asking for a minimum viable product. This application doesn't have to be put in until the 8th. So if you have a working email list, if you have any kind of proof of concept, even statistical data, you can maybe even do like some kind of slideshow or information that shows why you think your product would actually work. Okay, just get some information about that. So the video says that the video should introduce the members of your team. When you're introducing them, make sure you're putting, if this is a team effort, of course, introduce the ideas around who you are, your position, all right? So your title, and then your relationship to the company, what you do for the company, right? It says describe your business and problem it seeks to solve and demonstrate use of your product or service, all right? So kind of going into what we were talking about with becoming her habits. If the consumer were to show how your product is being used or service is being used, this is the benefit that they're getting from it, right? The video should not exceed 90 seconds. Filmed in English in landscape mode. So it means that it's horizontal. So not like how we post on TikTok, like how we post on YouTube, okay? In a setting with minimal background noise, feel free to use a cellular device to film. So they don't want any like fancy production. Like don't make it a whole thing. Just stay within the parameters, okay? How long have you been working on this venture? It gives you some drop-down options. It asks you for your company website. So just a little bit more about social media because we kind of went into a little spiel about it earlier. But if you're going to be using social media information, please make sure that your social media is clean as day because they will be using it. They will be referencing it, all right? I always put LinkedIn. I don't even bother with the other ones. And that's not even because there's anything crazy on my social medias. I just don't do it. And what share of your venture do individuals who identify as blah, blah, blah own? And then I'm going to put 100% because that's relevant, right? Have you participated in an accelerator before? If that's relevant to you, then you can put yes or no. What is a problem you've identified, right? That's one question. And then the next question they're asking is, what is your solution? What products or services will you offer? All right. Ooh, this application is long. I'm sorry. I'm just scrolling through this. We're going to have to finish this tomorrow, y'all. I'm sorry. Because there's no way. This is long. All right. So what problem have you identified? Okay. Quantify everything. So accurate information and helpful downloads. Long. Oh, yeah, it's long. Accurate information and helpful downloads. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm sorry. It's going over my head. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna have to, I don't think we're gonna make it to the end of this application today, but we can finish it tomorrow. What is the problem you've identified? Okay. So remember to quantify everything. So when we're talking about the problems that we've identified, usually that means that there's either a gap in the marketplace that you're looking to fill, period, right? Let's say, and this could be innovative. This doesn't necessarily have to be technology. Let's say you found a way to fill in eyebrows or fill in eyelashes. And I use this example because people think it has to be something like super innovative and like it has to be life-changing, right? No. It could be as simple as you streamlining a process that solves a problem for your consumer, okay? So if you've identified that it takes too long to apply a brand new set of eyelashes and it takes 2 hours and the consumer, gets restless and they have things to do and it kind of diminishes the number of times that they want to come in because they know it's like time intensive, but you've identified that there's a way that you can do it that will take that time from 2 hours to 30 minutes. The problem that you've identified is that it takes too long to do lashes and it causes really high turnover in clients, right? But if you now, excuse me, next thing is, if you found the solution of how to do that in a way where your consumer is able to save on that time, that's your solution, all right? Does that make sense? That's just an example I gave with the eyelashes thing, because I don't want you to think that this has to be something like super, super like dynamic and like it has to be life-changing or life-altering. If the problem that you are solving is it saves the consumer time, it saves the consumer money, you've identified that by doing this thing, they're experiencing less of a pain point, that's the problem that you're solving. The solution is how the consumer is going to benefit by using your product or your service, all right? If you would like to add any additional supporting documents, please upload it here. All right. All right, so does your venture sell products and services business to business or business to consumer? So for me, I sell business to business. So I don't deal directly with a consumer that is looking for my product. My ideal client will have a business. So think of it that way if you're selling to another business. If you're selling to a consumer, it's probably someone who is just looking to purchase something from you and they don't have any business to do with you at all other than the purchase and that one transaction or transactions that they're making, okay? Venture or product type. If you have a physical product, that could be like a book or an eyelash kit, or it could be a camera. If you're selling, Becoming Her Habits sells good cameras or something, that would be that. And then also they're asking you whether it's hardware or not. And then software would be something like an app, right? Or service would be something like a consulting service, or social media marketing or social media management or something like that would be more of a service. So there's that. Describe your target audience and their needs. Okay. So it kind of gives you a little bit more opportunity here to expound on how your consumer is going to be engaging with your product too. So describe your target audience. When you're describing them, you're not going to just say, so we are going to include some data, some demographic data about them. We're not just going to talk about the demographics. We're going to break it down and we're going to talk about who this person is down to a psychological level. So if you want to even consider putting this person out as like if you have like a person in your life that's like a template for this, that would be great. Okay. But you're going to talk about your consumer in a way that really is talking about how you targeted them and got down to why they need this service. All right. So for example, a mom would greatly benefit from being able to get in and out and get her eyelashes done in 30 seconds, right? Or 30 minutes rather. So, for example, in my grant trainings, whenever I do a grant training, I always do a proposal. I build out a proposal for a fake company. One of the fake companies that we built out for was this company called Anti-Load. Anti-Load was a company that was built by a mom, and the mom had the problem of being in New York City. And whenever she's in New York, she doesn't want to drag her baby, her newborn child or her toddler or whatever, down the street with a bunch of laundry. So her solution was to be able to solve the problem of laundry inaccessibility. Okay, that was the problem she's solving, and what the consumer needed was a way to access laundry services in a streamlined way, but also keep track of their belongings because they're in New York and people still anywhere, but people still, right? So for example, the product, and I'm giving you this example so you can kind of work out and flesh out your answers, right? So the product was that, or the service was that the laundry service would come to their house, pick up the product, tag the bags with their information, seal it, scan a code, and when they scan the code, it would show on an app every single step of the process where they were in the process of her getting her laundry. And the turnaround time for that was 24 hours, right? So somebody would come and pick it up, tag it, you'd see where it was going. It's being washed right now, it's being folded, blah, 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 and it would be tagged, it would be tracked along the way, okay? The target customer would enjoy something like that because they would not have access to, and it speaks to their needs, right? Laundry inaccessibility is important because in New York City, and because I used to live in New York, I'm a native New Yorker, one problem with New York is that if you have space, there's probably not even a hookup for laundry services there, right? And then on top of that, going to the laundromat, it might be a good option, but it depends on the community that you live in, right? So it's a number of things there. When I'm talking about my target audience or my target customer in that narrative for that fake company that I'm talking about every single thing that they experience because I'm describing what issues they have and why our product meets their needs. All right. But I created the problem. I named the problem. All right. My problem name was laundry inaccessibility because there's a bunch of reasons why New Yorkers have difficulty going to a laundromat. Time, convenience, location, weather, like there's just a bunch of different things, right? So, yeah. So think about it that way when you're talking about your target customer. You want to break down all of their issues. And then once you've broken down all of their issues, you'll be able to better understand what their needs are because you can go point for point. Not enough time. This is how our solution solves the time thing, right? Not enough money. This is how our solution is the most affordable and competitive in that space. Not enough resources. This is how we offer resources. Not enough this, too much this. Want to eliminate this, want to put this pain point here, and then point for point, just go point for point, and then just create a 1-paragraph narrative around 100 words really, around in a succinct way about how your consumer, that person that you're targeting, why they want that thing, why they want your solution. All right. Any questions about that? And then the next question is going to pretty much answer why we need to know that, okay? So remember how earlier we were talking about talk about how you're measuring everything and how we are going to quantify everything. They're asking you, what is the size of your addressable market? What percentage of the market do you seek to attain over what period of time? They want you to measure that. That's a measurement question, right? Size, percent, and time. Those are all units of measurement. So that's essentially what they want to know. And this application, I believe, is way more involved because the stakes are a lot higher as far as the finances, right? I receive that in the name of Jesus, all right? So when you're talking about the size, percent, and time, all units of measurement that we need to be able to quantify and be able to talk about, right? So you can use sites like Statista, and you can use sites like, what's the other one? I'm gonna tell you right now. It's called Grand something. Grand Review something. Grand View. That's what it's called. Yeah, Grandview Research. So sites like Statista and Grandview Research will give you insights into your market, okay? That is going to be that answer for that market size. I can't tell you what that is. You have to really do the research, right? That's going to be how you are going to determine the size of your market. Size of your market can look like, so I'm telling you this because I don't want you guys to get confused if you're looking it up, okay? Size of your market can look like Grandview Research, yes. So size of your market can look like a consumer number. So they can tell you that the market size is this many consumers, but they can also, and especially in the beauty space, you'll see it's a lot with like beauty and even SaaS. SaaS too. So in the SaaS space, they might also tell you that the market size is this many users, right? Grandview, and what was the other one? Statista. So it looks like statistics, but instead of statistics, it's Statista. That is where you're going to find market information, right? It can also look like market size can also look like a dollar value too, right? So you might very well run across information where it says that this market size is $274 billion. That is still market size. So even if you don't see a consumer number for like how many people interact with this, don't get put off by that because the market size could be just the dollar value of that market, all right? So what percent of the market do you seek to attain and over what period of time? That is going to be a twofold answer. One, I can't also tell you that answer because it's going to depend on infrastructure and you need to have projections to really answer this question, which is not difficult to do, but I would say if you are interested in doing this, find a really simple projections template that you can use and plug in numbers for at least through 5 years, okay? Because when you can do that, you're going to look at how many people based on your current ability to serve. All right. So let's say you are, Statista. Yes. So let's say let's say the market size is 270 billion, for example, right? And then when you do your projections, you see that applying $1 million would allow you to be able to serve, it would allow you to be able to serve 100 people, right? That is now you're going to take that 100 people or whatever that revenue amount is that 100 people would generate for you, and you're going to apply it to that $270 billion, right? And you're going to take the percentage of that. However, let's say, I really can't do 100 people. That's not sustainable. When am I going to sleep? When am I going to eat? I really can sustainably do 10 people comfortably, right? So now you have to take the value of the 10, because this is going to be based on your infrastructure as well as what the funds can do for you. So that's why your projections are going to be important. So you're looking at how much can I actually reasonably do with support, with help, with wherever I am in my business right now, or with funds added. versus the size of the market, that's going to be the percent of how many, that's what the percent is that you're going to capture. That number might not look that large, and that's okay. For our business, even with 1,000 user base to begin for year one, it was like 0.0 something of like the fintech market, but that's the market share. That's the percentage of the market share. That's the percentage. So that's how much we're looking to attain. And then now over what period, which is why I said do 5-year projections, because if you can project out until 5 years, and I can comfortably say, okay, if I was writing this narrative, I would say that the market size is this large, and we anticipate we're going to do at least by 5 years 1% of the market, of the fintech market, by, if this is 2023, by 2028, right? And that would allow us to see an ROI of 7,000%. And I just happen to know those numbers. So that would be how you're going to address that. Does that make sense? I know I said a lot of things that are very kind of vague because I don't have information about your business, but those are the pieces that you're going to need to kind of piece together to get this part right. Any questions on that before we kind of move on to the next question? Okay. We're going to need to access the recording of this. That's funny. Okay. So list 2 to 5 competitors and tell us why your idea is distinct from alternatives in the field. I have some work to do. Yes. Yeah. So, and if you need any support, we have one-on-one consultations. Just use the form in the link in the bio on my page. And once you put in that, like fill in that form, you could just put one-on-one in the messages and you'll get an email with a calendar link and where you can go ahead and schedule your one-on-one. Okay. So list 2 to 5 competitors. So competitors is an interesting concept, right? Because we've talked about this before in other lives, but we're going to talk about this a little bit more in detail here, and we can talk about it a little bit more tomorrow if there's any questions, okay? It says list 2 to 5 competitors, but you really only need 2, all right? And if you want to put 3, you can, if you really want to be like studious about this, you can put 3, all right? You can say 3. One is the person that has the most market share. So that is the person who has the highest piece of whatever market you're in, okay? So that could be, like for example, if we're looking at soft drinks, that might be Coca-Cola, if they have like the largest market share, who the biggest person in that market is. If you can't find any other information, you can talk about that person. But the other way we want to look at competition is, if you're going to list 2, then one thing that you want to do is talk about your number 1 competition versus your number 2 competition. Number 1 competition is going to be the person that you have direct competition with, okay? So if I own a nail salon and there's a nail salon across the street, that is my direct competitor. Or even if they're 2 blocks down, right? Because depending on which way the person's going and which way traffic's going, then someone else might see that business before they see mine. So that's why they're in direct competition with me. And then we might also be directly competing on price and quality and product or whatever. But then there's also indirect competition. And the way I want you guys to think about this is, think about where your consumer will go if you do not exist, okay? So it says, if no direct competitors, because there are direct competitors, how else are your consumers solving the problem now? All right. So that's going to be technically your indirect competition. An example of that we've used in the past is, let's say I want to build a restaurant and I'm proposing that I'm going to build a restaurant. It's going to have a park, and it's going to have like a theme park where kids can come. It's family friendly, and it's just a fun, enjoyable environment. My direct competitor is McDonald's, technically, because if I'm pitching that it's family friendly and kids can come and I'm positioning as if there's a playpen, McDonald's has the same thing, right? I might say I have an advantage because I'm building like artisan food versus like highly mass-produced food, but either way, right? That could be one of the distinctive alternatives in the field. So if I'm saying the difference between me and McDonald's is, as my direct competitor, is that our food is made to order versus processed or highly or mass produced, then that would be me and McDonald's distinction, right? However, my indirect competitor would be a park, right? And who can tell me why my indirect competitor is a park? I had another girl who answered the question correctly, and I was supposed to give her something, but I can't think of what to give her. So if someone can let me know why a park would be an indirect competitor to a restaurant that I've kind of outlined. They don't sell food, but they can still be an indirect competitor. And why is that? Because selling food is not necessarily the comp. That's also take your food to sit and go. Exactly. So Dre J. Austin answered correctly first. The first one I said. Right. And Divine Kells is the one, right. And Divine Kells is the second answer. So that's why a park would still be a indirect competitor, because if I'm thinking family friendly, I could take my kids to a place where they would still enjoy themselves and I could just bring my own food. So that's where I would go if I'm not going to a restaurant, but I still want to have somewhat of the same experience, right? So when you're thinking about your competitors, think of it that way. Think about the person who's directly competing with you in that marketplace or in that space, in that industry, whatever. And then the person who is not necessarily competing with you, but where your consumers will go if you don't exist, if you're not solving the problem for them, all right? So does that make sense? And do we need any more insight on that? Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right. So we're just up on, thank you very much for the gifts. So we're just up on about 15 or so minutes till the end of this, and we got a lot more to go. So I know we're not gonna finish this today. We can finish this tomorrow though, same time, 12 p.m. Clarify my competitors. Okay, good. That's what I hope, that you get clarity on that. That's my number one goal. Good. Okay, so we're not gonna finish this today, but this will be a good opportunity. If you have any questions, let's answer those questions. If not, then we'll be back here tomorrow at noon to 2, same time, doing the same thing, working on this application, and then assuming we are able to get this application done in Kin Community and Vice on YouTube. Okay, perfect. So for you, becoming her habits, I would try to get as much, and this is just, the application really only gives you 150 words, right? No problem. So the application only gives you 150 words, but just for the sake of you knowing about your competitor, I would get as much information as you can get on Vice's YouTube channel, right? I'm gonna tell you right now what the name of that thing is. So I'm going to go to Vice's channel and I'm going to pull up information about them, right? So there's this, watch a video. So there's an app called TubeBuddy. It's a paid app, but you don't have to pay for it, really. You can just get a trial or something. And they'll give you statistical data on your competitor, okay? So they'll give you insights, and I would say learn a little bit more about them, like how many views they get, how much money they make, how many subscribers they have. Because if you're going to be using YouTube at all, then if you're going to be using YouTube as a platform where you're going to be leveraging and Vice is your indirect competitor, then you want as much data on them to be able to not only create a baseline for yourself, for your own goals, but then you also want to create a baseline for what you're going to be up against, essentially, right? And you want to learn from them too. And then when you're doing something like a SWOT analysis, you want to talk about what they do that's better than you, which is fine because we're not perfect, right? All businesses are not perfect. They might have strengths that you don't. One of their strengths is that they're more notable, right? I know who Vice is. I just learned about you. And that's not a slight in any way, but they have more visibility. They have more traction. So that's a strength that they have. But if you're doing a SWOT analysis, then you'd have to break down what your strengths are, right? So this is why it's a good exercise, because SWOT would help you break down when competitors are concerned, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And you're going to do that for your business, and you're going to do that for their business, okay? So one of the strengths that Vices has, I'm going to tell you right now, they have 16 million subscribers. It's a lot of people, right? Their videos, you can look at how many views their videos average from the day that they post them, and then you'll get baseline data from how many views their videos get, right? And you can talk about that as a strength of theirs. They have engaged viewership. So that's a strength. A weakness might be that they're not, I don't know. I would have to look. Well, they've been around since 2005. So they also have seniority, right? They've been around for a while. I would say that you'd have to look for weaknesses in Vice. You'd have to look for a weakness could be that they always in some kind of scandal. That's one thing, right? They might have, and when you're going to say scandal, you're not going to talk about it from like, oh, Vice is always in something or in some mess, right? We're going to talk about it from the standpoint where that's what we want to say, that they're always in something, but that the consequence of that is what the problem is. That might mean that they have, a wavering viewership or wavering loyalty because they're always divisive or whatever. But that might also be an opportunity to capture more people that might get them to look at things from a different point of view that other people might not have considered before. So you're going to do that for other businesses like Vice, and then you're going to do that for yourself too, right? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where do you see opportunities for the media space or the space that the market that you're entering? Right? And what are some threats to you? Let's say one threat is the fact that you do not, and this is a threat that exists for you and Vice. If you're going to be leveraging YouTube in any way, and this is leveraging, so not necessarily that you're only going to be on YouTube, but if you're going to be leveraging YouTube and there's a lot of people that are going to be seeing your content, a threat is that you do not own this platform, right? That's always a threat. You're going to consistently have to get consumers from your content off of that platform. And that's going to be an opportunity to build you. So you see how I'm framing that? So there's a threat, but then there's also an opportunity. Yes, we don't own YouTube, but we're also, because we're aware of that threat, an opportunity exists to create a engaged community off of YouTube that will allow us to engage with users in a deeper way that will deepen their loyalty to us. So that's the opportunity there. So you're going to break down those things as far as competitors are concerned. And once you do that exercise, answering questions like this in a grant makes it so much easier because you know who your competitors are, right? And that might change tomorrow. AI is changing everything every day. That might change tomorrow, but assuming it doesn't, right? You have that answer already outlined. And I think that answer might be helpful to everybody. It doesn't necessarily just have to be YouTube and Vice. It could be whoever your competitors are, okay? I'm glad to have found you, Godson. Thank you. No problem. SWOT analysis. Yeah, SWOT. SWOT analysis. What platform do you post the videos? We don't post the recorded videos up just yet, but we are going to, and I'll be sure to announce it, I promise. TubeBuddy, yeah. So if you have an account with TubeBuddy, they'll allow you to see information about different users and different accounts, okay? So that's that. And then SWOT, yes, SWOT. Where can I watch your recorded videos? I have not put them anywhere just yet. That makes sense. So we'll build an engaged email list or maybe an app later on. Yeah, exactly. So that could be a solution for that threat. The fact that you don't own YouTube and you have really no say on how, like you can't, and this is across the board, right? Even social media, which is why, again, so remember I told you guys earlier, I'm not just telling you my business to tell you my business. This is kind of why I built this platform the way I did, because when I did my SWOT analysis and I realized that we're going to be building a platform out later, I had to get users engaged now, right? So this is why we don't necessarily just post the videos just yet, because I need you guys to engage. It's a way to get you off of TikTok. I don't want you on TikTok. I want you in my email list, if I'm being quite frank with you, right? Because if they decide to ban TikTok right now, how else are we going to communicate? How else are we going to go live? How else am I going to get this information to you? So I gave you the grant funding list. We're going through the grants. This is an opportunity for you to still, because and this kind of works out for me too, right? So let's say whether I get funded or you get funded, it doesn't matter because you got the information you need, you got the funding you need, and you applied the proof of concept that I'm sharing with you, right? And you got the information. Yes, I can. 1 second. So you got the information that you needed, right? You got the help that you needed, and it proves that doing it differently from how you were doing it before, once you applied the information I'm giving you, worked. And that helps my business too. So that's how service works. I cannot help you if it's not helpful to you, if that doesn't make any sense. And the best way to help you is to get you off of the platform that does not help me. And going live allows us to do that because it forces you now to get on here at 12 o'clock when I announce it. It forces you to follow me because then that's when I'm going to announce it, and it forces you to find out when I'm going to be on live. And then as soon as I get you on live, I get you off the platform. I don't want you on here. I want you on here so we can engage with each other, but long-term building a relationship, this is not going to be sustainable because I don't own TikTok. I don't own Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So I want you to think of it that way. You want to use, I know, right? You want to use your platform as real estate, okay? Think of social media as real estate. That's just where your content lives. That's just where your content lives. Your consumer needs to live away from there. You do not want your consumers living just where you have real estate on social media. You want your consumers to buy real estate, buy property off of social media. You want them to buy property in your email list. You want them to buy property in your course. You want them to buy property in your community. You want them to buy property on your websites. You do not want them and we're going to talk about this more further down the line once you kind of get this part down. But once you understand that you cannot collect data about your consumer and how they're going to act, behave, consume your content, anything, if they're not on your terms, you're not going to be able to sustain a business. And that is something that comes up a lot on these grant applications. Okay, excuse me. We talked about that in another application. They ask, how are you going to acquire clients? What is your client acquisition strategy? What is it? It can't be social media only. I promise you it can't be. Because social media, you have very little control over. You can post, you can talk about when you post, but even now we learn that TikTok is deciding who they want to push out content to. So you don't even have really say in that. So get your consumers off of TikTok, YouTube, and that should be your number one goal. Oh, this is where you're going to see me, but this is over there is where you're going to feel me. This is where you're going to get your value, okay? Always think of it that way. Always, and that's going to be part of your marketing plan, all right? Let's see what else. Can you post your email? Yes, I can post my email. So let me do that now. It would actually be easier. I'm going to post it anyway, and I'll do that for the future as well. But it would be easier if you just go to the link in my bio. There's a message box at the bottom of that page, and you can just send me a message with whatever you want to tell me. So just ask for your name, your email, and then it'll give you a message box where you can send me a message. All right. Podcast. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to do Canva. All right. So I'm about to post this. It's going to pause the live because I'm airdropping this to my phone. So just don't be alarmed. All right. Okay. So that's my email address. And if you guys found any of this content valuable, so directing folks to your website to access your email list from your website. So directing folks to your website to access your email list from your website. Well, the email list should be somewhere in like a link in your bio or something, right? So let's say you're using a lead magnet and you're giving away a free guide or something that is useful to your consumer base and your target audience, then that link would be in your bio and they have to sign up for it in order to get that link. And that's when you're going to keep retargeting them. Okay. So if you found this information useful in any way, shape, or form, and you feel generous today, you guys can buy me a cup of coffee. I put the link up there. And that's about it. It's already 2:00. If there's no other questions, then we'll get back on at the same time tomorrow, 12 Eastern. And we'll go through the remainder of this application, this Black Ambition application. And then we'll probably go through, if time permits, we can probably go through one more. Let me see. Let me see if we can go through this one. Okay, I think this one is actually a paid one, but I'll look more into this one. But we might be able to do two. Okay, so I will see you guys mañana. Have a blessed rest of your day, and y'all be good. All right, bye.